If you want to carry games with Briar Jungle in 2026, you need to understand one thing first. This champion is not just about running in and hoping for the best. It's about controlled aggression and smart decision-making. Because Briar is still one of the strongest snowball junglers in the game right now, when played correctly. Starting with your clear, you want to full clear most games because Briar scales extremely well with early gold and levels. So pathing from red buff into full clear is usually the most consistent route, giving you level 4 and strong map presence. However, if you see an early gank opportunity on a low mobility lane, you can path red into level 3 gank because your W Frenzy and Q stun combo is still insanely strong early. For runes, the most optimal setup right now is Conqueror as your keystone because fights last long with Briar Sustain, combined with Triumph, Legend, Alacrity, and Last Stand. Then secondary runes and inspiration with Magical Footwear and Cosmic Insight for better tempo and summoner cooldowns. This setup gives you the best mix of damage, healing, and scaling. When it comes to items, your core build revolves around sustain and sticking power, with Stridebreaker being one of the most consistent mythic-like items in the current meta due to its slow and mobility, followed by Black Cleaver for armor shred and Sterax Gauge for survivability. And depending on the game, you can adapt with Death's Dance or Spirit Visage if you need more durability. Briar benefits heavily from items that let her survive longer in fights, because the longer she lives, the more she heals and deals damage. Now, the most important part, how to actually carry. Your early game goal is not just farming, but identifying weak lanes and punishing them repeatedly. Because Briar excels at diving and chasing, especially once you unlock your ultimate, which is basically a global engage tool. Use your R to impact fights across the map, but don't just throw it randomly. Aim for isolated targets or fights you know you can win, because if you engage poorly, you will end. Simple as that. Mid-game is where Briar becomes a monster, and this is where most players throw, so here's the key. Don't overforce fights, instead play around objectives like Dragon and Herald. Pick off enemies with your team, and always track cooldowns before going in. Your W makes you lose control, so timing is everything. Activate it when you're sure you can commit and win. Also, learn to cancel your frenzy with E properly to avoid bad situations. This is what separates good Briar players from great ones. In team fights, your role is not to front to back like a tank, but to dive the back line and eliminate carries, especially squishy ADCs and mages. Wait for the right moment, flank if possible, and once you go in, commit fully because Briar is all about all-in plays. Finally, to truly carry games, you need consistency. Don't tilt, don't coin flip every fight, and focus on clean execution. Because Briar rewards players who think before they engage. If you master your pathing, your itemization, and your decision-making, you can easily take over games and climb out of low elo with Briar Jungle in the current 2026 meta.